G'day, I'm Andrew Campbell and my wife Anne. Been around 50 years for college, started in 1975, which seems like a lifetime ago, which of course it is. Everyone's got a story, Anne's got a story, I've got a story, but mine goes back to 1859 when my great-grandfather, a street kid in Glasgow, in the slums of Glasgow, gave his life to Christ in a revival then. My great-grandfather, both my grandfathers, my father was a minister, so it was not inevitable because though I grew up in a Christian home, and saw how the Bible taught well works. I really saw that. But I had my time of rebellion and stupidity. After that, I eventually grew as a Christian through university ministry, the chapel ministry in Armidale and the Christians in Armidale University. Married, and then went to, I guess, a bit of an apprentice kind of ministry for 3 years where we saw so many people come to the Lord that we said this is where we've got to be. And so even though I was a Presbyterian, I decided to come to Moore College, and I was accepted as a candidate here, a Presbyterian candidate, studying at Moore College, which happened for a whole generation of ministers, Presbyterian ministers, and it changed our denomination. You became a Christian.
Well, I grew up in the Strzelecki Ranges in Victoria, and a neighbouring on a farm, and a neighbouring farmer's wife made friends with my parents. Every Sunday she would faithfully come up into the mountain and pick us up and take us back to Sunday school. So she became my spiritual mum. Auntie May, we called her. And it was through her that I became a Christian. At the 1969 Billy Graham crusade, I recommitted my life to Jesus and decided I was going to go to Bible college, and instead met Andrew. So he's been my Bible college ever since. When Andrew married, we were at Warrialda for 3 years as home missionaries, and then came to college. So while he was at college, I was supporting him working at forensic medicine and, a few other things like that. And we lived at Buttergrass, remember that?
Yes, Buttergrass. Well, we were privileged that there were only 4 families living there at the time, and it was like living in a big country residence. What I appreciated so much about coming to college was the way that Broughton Knox, and I think it was largely him, welcomed this contingent of Presbyterians, but we felt so much at home here, theologically, and Broughton Knox made sure that we were so welcome, providing accommodation and treating us 100% as all the other students. And that was the most extraordinary benefit and blessing to me personally. I had a vision, but the Lord had other visions, I think. 3 years at Muswellbrook, Upper Hunter Valley, and then 14 years in the Presbyterian Church Youth Ministry with an outreach ministry and in utilising a double-decker bus in Mt Druitt, Blacktown, St Mary's. So that was a very different ministry.
That was a key ministry for us, wasn't it?
It was probably the golden years in one sense.
Yeah.
I was growing a little church in Layla Park, and which did grow. It's now 2 little thriving churches in Blacktown. So it was it was youth and children's and youth work, scripture classes. But a few years ago, we went back to the church that we ministered to, particularly in Blacktown, and there was these young people that are now married couples, still part of that church with their children in that church. There might have been a dozen of them that were still part of that church after all these years, still faithfully with the Lord, but I'm still half-time. I work at Guyra Presbyterian Church and Glen Innes Presbyterian Church, both little congregations of 20, 30 people. We live in a bush block just south of Inverell, so every Sunday 230 kilometres and 2 services, 2 lovely little small congregations that are very precious. I think country ministry has occupied my heart now for some time. Very passionate about these ordinary little churches where they're struggling to get a pastor. Our ministry has been a huge partnership for, well, all of 50 years and more, and with particular responsibilities and gifts in terms of music. In particular, back in the youth ministry days, simply driving the bus and letting me, and cooking.
Hospitality.
Forgot about that, the hospitality of that
I'd
whole...
cook for the camps and I'd drive the bus, and he'd run the
And that meant that I could
program.
look after the Bible talks and make sure the bus kept going and so on. But that was such a partnership that the church actually began to employ a lady who became a dear friend to do some of Anne's housework so that she would be released more for in the youth ministry.
Mr. Campbell, it's an act of service.
Yes, it is an act of service. You are. You've served me all these years, and I appreciate it. You've got so many little churches that are struggling with very difficult arrangements, and that's my heart at the moment is how do we look after. Now in the area where I am, we're working increasingly with Armidale Diocese, faithful little groups that have been around for a century and are struggling to keep the doors open. And that is something that is deeply concerning me. Ordinary little country places that are in danger of simply closing, and once they close, that's for good. Very hard to keep them open. Pray for people willing to go to the country and country ministry, which has, I know what city ministry is like. Yes, I know the needs, but I also am passionate about the needs of little country places.
And I guess one of the prayer points would be to pray for people who are retired and still have energy and gifts to teach.